Wow.
I think this one is easier to
this one looks
determine what we
distinguishable.
have.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Very nice.
Let's jump right in there.
Our guest. Forth.
Thank you. All right.
All right.
All right. And cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Cheers. That's right. We had to look each other in the eye after. So I was educated here. We had to look each other in the eye after you cheers.
All right. You know, I wasn't sure if I was going to be okay with it or not, but I do like it.
How could you not like that? I mean, that's...
Well, I've just not been a martini fan for the longest time.
Okay.
So now maybe I'll get back into it.
Okay.
But anyway, so we got our drinks.
Yes.
So now we can begin.
I'm going to hold on to mine, if that's all right.
No, you're fine.
All right.
All right, so we want to welcome everyone to this episode of Cocktails Are for Closers. Of course, I'm Matt Hickey, the managing partner and broker for Living Vogue Real Estate, along with the chairman and founder, Mark Copens, our lovely office manager, Kelly Hallowell, of course, behind the camera, Jake Dunaway, and tonight we have a very special guest, and I'm actually going to turn it over to Mark.
Thank you. Very special guest. Yeah, so tonight we have John Pham with us from MJ Pham Development. I knew I was going to mess that up.
Developer.
Yeah.
No, so John Pham is from MJ Pham, which is actually the initials of his kids, right?
That's right. That's
if I
right.
remember correctly.
My joy.
And if you're a realtor, have you ever driven around Wester Trail or Siesta Key, you've seen his signs all over the place. So I'm sure you're aware. But John is the owner, president of that builder, a very successful high-end luxury builder here in Sarasota.
Thank you.
So tonight we're going to pick his brain a little bit.
Thank you.
Yeah. So do you want to start with the 800-pound gorilla?
Why does it take so fucking long to build a house in Sarasota?
You know, a lot of times it takes a long time because of the pre-planning. That's what it is.
Yeah.
If you set your plans early before you break ground, like, you know, all your finishes, all your selections. I mean, even the smallest things about where you want your light switches, right?
Right.
If you get all that settled before you break ground, then all your sub and your trades know how to execute that. And, you know, as you're more developing, you also learn how to mix your trades, right? So if you have a phenomenal trade that is really good at, example, in the bathrooms, you keep him there. You don't give him the complete job, even though he has the manpower to do it. You don't do that. You put another trade in there that does the floors and the deck lanai. That way you make them compete against each other so they can move to the next house.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah.
So keep everyone in their zone.
Keep them in
and
their
let
lane.
them be focused.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So realistically, what are you seeing? I know there's tons of variables, but let's say you're going to build a house,
Right.
Wester Trail. You're not on the water.
Right.
You're above the floodplain, right? You're 12, 14 feet.
Right.
How long is that? You know, once somebody comes in and says, "I want to build this house," let's sign the contract. Until you hand over the keys, about how long is that?
So if they sign a contract, for example, they really sign a contract and they work with us on their pre-structure, like we're going through preliminaries and working with the city.
Right.
And they have all their selections. No
crazy changes.
No crazy changes.
Yeah.
I'll say 12, 14 months.
12, 14. Okay.
Well, we built one of the houses in 11 months and 3 weeks.
Wow.
Two-story, 36 to 50 square feet. And it went right through smooth.
Now you're biased, obviously, but
Right.
it's not the same with all builders, is it? I mean, I personally have been on projects with builders that have taken 3.5, almost 4 years for that same kind of house, right? Nothing. It's a luxury home, no doubt, but nothing spectacular, right? Is a lot of that dependent on the builder and how they actually manage the project? Or?
I think a lot of it, we're all being open here, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of it is also managing finances too. The biggest thing is managing the finances, and people don't want to talk about that. So a lot of times builders sign you up. It depends on 10%, 15, or 20, whatever the initial is. They got to have more jobs to execute more jobs, to be able to fund jobs. So as us, we fund our own company and we fund our own jobs. So if somebody signs with us, we're like, you know what? You fund 20%, I'll fund the rest of it. So it gives them a little bit of skin in the game that's non-refundable, so that they have something in the game, like a little seed in it. Because if somebody puts in, let's say, nothing at all, how can you stop them just walking away 50% of the project?
Yeah, there's no incentive
There's
there,
no incentive,
I guess, right?
yeah.
So are you saying some builders, it's kind of robbing Paul to feed Peter? Kind of there.
Like in the building world, you always want to be professional. And I think every builder, I know how hard it is. It's hard. I mean, you're working through the city, especially when you're working through these grand trees.
Oh God,
Woo!
yeah.
But the biggest thing is working through the city. Like, you cannot have an ego in this business. Like my conversation today with the city arborist, no ego involved. I said, what do I need to do, and how do I execute it?
There are definitely egos.
There's ego. There's ego.
You're saying to be successful,
not here. No.
But to be successful,
you can't have ego. I mean, there's some of those builders, that have their name on the company that they definitely have,
That's right.
an ego about them. So.
I totally agree. But like I said, back to the finance side of it, sometimes when they take 20% down, that's just a preliminary. But if they take another job, and sometimes, depending on the contract, some people don't have that fund to go 20, 30% down. They'll go like 10%. They're starting on the job. How are they funding the next 15% draw?
Yeah.
So now they got to keep on getting multiple jobs, and that's how it slows down the projects.
Right.
So we just said, you know what? We'll just keep on pushing with or without.
Yeah, so you kind of take risk. You
All the
take
way.
more risk, self-fund.
Yep, I'll self-fund
because
it.
you've got investment behind you that allows you to do that.
A lot of it's my investment,
Yeah.
but a lot of it's my investment. Then I also have capital, like, groups, but it's majority of it's our company, and we just fund it all the way through.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Let's take it back a little bit. So, you haven't always been in the Sarasota area.
I'm not.
What brought you here, and what made you start your company?
Honestly, my wife has brought me here. That's
Usually how it goes, right?
My wife.
She's not back here anywhere.
She's not. No, she's nowhere. Well,
A lovely lady, by the way.
My wife. It's like I worked a lot in Dallas in the automotive world, and she said, "You know what? You're working a lot. I want to live by the ocean. We're getting older. We have kids, and Southside is what really attracted us. Southside Elementary is what really got us." And I said, "You know what? If I'm going to stay here, I want to invest." Then at first I started being an investor, but I did like some commercial development in Dallas as well, so I know the construction background. I said, you know what? Let me get into it now. So I started building my own team, and that's how MJ Development came to life.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But it's all for my kids. That's where the teal blue comes from, too.
And how long ago did you move here?
About 5 years ago.
5 years, okay.
Right.
So I remember several years ago, started seeing these signs pop up. I'm like,
Pink. They were pink, right?
They were, weren't they?
Pink
That's
signs.
right. I forgot about that.
I mean, listen, you know me, I'm all that marketing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I noticed right away, where are
Yeah.
these pink signs
Yeah.
all over the place?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I mean,
MJ
well
Pham,
done with
like,
that.
Who are these
Yeah.
people?
Yeah.
And then they just started popping up everywhere.
All over.
Yeah. And then these gorgeous homes started filling in those spots.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the realtor side of everything. And we want you to be completely honest. Where do you see like the role of the realtor, pros and cons, things you've run into?
I think a lot of realtors, and I'm just you being transparent. You got to come with the always like how you use a solution solver, right? So if one of your clients is saying, you know what, I don't want to be in a flood zone, for example, you got to think a new construction build. You got to go above. You got to go above the flood zone because you're a new construction protected by also the all the codes and everything the city wants you to do. So come with the solution, saying, you know what, let me get you in contact. Let me sit you in front of the builder. And let's have a conversation. At least start a conversation and in a bright light. Then that way that observation of saying no, they can overcome that.
Yeah.
So then they get to choose. Don't let the agent choose for them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So do you regularly have conversations with realtors and their clients?
Absolutely.
Okay.
At this point, every agent that I deal with, they're very confident about it. They know that I'm not there. I'm not there to try to, execute the job and do it right by them. So they said, why don't you meet my client? Let's see if we can't work out a deal.
Yeah.
And so far,
all right, you're being nice. Surely there are some agents that have ruffled your feathers. I mean, so let me. I can.
He wants you to
We're
get
not
down
going to
here.
name
Get dirty
names,
with
right? Of course, none of our agents.
Maybe needs to drink a little more.
Well, there's it's like when you go inspect a beautiful home, the inspector's going to find stuff just to justify their job, right?
That's right.
So
every time
I would assume there are some agents that come to you, that maybe they're speaking outside of their lane or their expertise, just to show their client that they're adding value.
100%.
Right, so
I deal with all the time.
Yeah, okay. So that to me that takes probably a personality and some patience on your part to be able to deal with that. But from my perspective as an agent, anyone that's willing to help me and offload work and
100%.
have at it, right? So so we always say, when you meet with a builder, it's almost like a referral. You're gonna provide them information for your client. Right. Obviously, you're gonna track their best needs and interests. But at the end of the day, you're the expert in the project, right? So at a certain part, you've got to turn them over to you, and there has to be a direct relationship and not this kind of filter in the middle.
I totally agree. We had for example, we had a property on 27 Penton East. It was like we dealt with Veronica at first, right? Victoria and at first she was kind of like on the borderline with us because she wanted to fill us out process. She worked with us for about a week. Then she's like, man, you guys take it. You guys are on point on everything.
Yeah.
Then now she refers us to everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's
That's
that
good.
relation building.
Yeah, it's a little bit of trust building.
And you also have to respect the agent, because if you look at it, the agent has to protect their client. So in my eyes, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to win your client over. I'm also going to win you over by doing what's right. So if you ask me, are you going to do A, B, and C? We send an email and we're like, here's the chain. You can see full disclosure of what we're doing. And so when they relay that message to their client, they're like, when you feel confident, everything I asked you to do, you did above and beyond, and you gave me a spreadsheet on it.
Right.
So that's what we do with everybody. So now that's why, Victoria's like super confident in that acquisition. So
Yeah. No, that's great. So let's talk a little bit more about your company to just kind of what separates you from some of the other builders.
what separates me?
This is
Other
your
than
chance.
your winning
He
personality.
threw the softball to you right now.
You really want to know?
Let's hear your sales
I'm
pitch.
relentless, honestly.
Okay.
I'm relentless. So like when I say I'm going to do it, I don't do it. I do it.
Yeah.
So like working with the city.
I like that.
It's like, so a lot of times people don't understand, a lot of things that holds back permits is relying to the comments. So the city, the arborist, the engineer, the RLW, which is Ed Brower, he's the head official over there. If he asks you, hey, I need you to give me an RLW permit and move that steel fence pack and I'll pass you, do it. But you also have to comment back on the portal and send it back in the portal what you're going to do and how you're going to execute that. A lot of people just ignore it.
Really?
If you ignore it, it gets pushed in the back. You're dealing with people like Gary Bell, Don Olam, Jackie Hartley. I mean, all these people are very high-profile people in the city.
Yeah.
Respect them, read their comments, and do exactly. If you're confused with the comment, what they're asking you, pick up the phone, shoot them an email, pick up the phone, and ask them, how can I assist you and how can I help you?
Yeah.
And they will walk you right through it.
Yeah, because they're there to help you get that job complete, or let you know exactly what needs to be done.
That's right.
To overcome whatever hurdle.
Well, I had a
you might
meeting
be
with Jackie
facing.
today, and Don, actually. In the background, you heard them talking to each other, and Jackie said, hey, that's John Pham on the phone. He says, John, have we always not done everything for you? I said, we have. We'll get this through the finish line.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I imagine too, they have a big workload, right? So if you're if you don't cooperate with them and kind of they're going to set you up for success, but if you don't drink the water, they're not going to drink it for you.
100%.
Right. So
And the biggest thing you want to do, and I noticed, is in the city, is this being very transparent. Like when they ask you certain things to do certain things, like, hey, I need you to mitigate this tree or put a chain link fence on, all this, you do it.
Yeah.
You don't ever do nothing slide behind their back. You just do exactly to the T. And
Yeah.
they go out there and look at it like, man, he's on point.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I like about you and your company is you always get creative about things, right? So if there's an issue with a tree or a setback or a pool or a dock, you don't. It's very easy in this industry to hear no from somebody who may actually not be a stakeholder in the process, and then you take that as gospel and you just say no, we can't do it. Whereas it seems like you kind of exhaust all resources and then think outside of the box, and if there's a way to if there's a way to get it done, especially with the grandfather docks, some of that stuff that we won't talk about in detail, but there's ways. Obviously,
we won't talk about certain things.
Well, they're all legal, and if you know the system, there's certain things you can do.
That's right.
But if you don't know those players and you haven't established relationships with them,
That's right.
And if you're the pain in the ass instead of the person that does things the right way the first time, you're just never going to know that. So and especially because there are Western Trail, there's lots of challenging lots, and there's old oaks and all sorts of stuff that you need to work around.
That's right.
Banyan trees and everything else, and weird setbacks. So if you've got a challenging lot, I would say, in my experience, there is a difference between builders, and not just building quality, but being able to figure out exactly what you can do with that lot and how you can maximize the potential out of it.
And it's a lot of it is design too. Like you gotta have we have a great team. We have Taylor Ward and also my wife. Faith Stutzman's in there, and they just come up with beautiful designs, different coloration. They swash everything before they even put it to print, and they don't swash it once. They swash it when it gets the final dry. Like every inch of it, they swash and make sure the color pattern right. Then they come back the second time on the sun. So when the sun is facing it dead, you're like, man, that alabaster is a different
Changes
color.
it,
It changes it. So like, you know what? We're going to do this again when it completely dries in the afternoon. And then that's how they get the color patterns.
So what excites you? As agents, Matt and I are both practicing agents.
Okay.
We see the same things, right? We see the grays and the whites and the beautiful quartz countertops and white cabinetry, and
I keep hearing gray
it's
is
the
out.
same thing.
I still like gray.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, when I see something that has some charm, some character,
Right.
maybe it's a little bit older and they've mixed some different finishes and textures in,
Right.
that's what excites me, right? As an agent, that sounds, pretty basic, but as a builder, and we've talked about some things and projects and potentials. What kind of excites you as a builder going into a project?
I think the capacity where when I can take a project on and I know that there's not a budget for me. So I'm also an investor as well. So I invest my own projects. And I know, okay, I bought this lot maybe for $500,000 short. I'm going to take that $500,000. I'm going to put it back into the finishes. Mm-hmm. In my mind, I didn't save $500,000.
Yeah.
In my mind is I was able to put $500,000 back into it.
It's like you earned $500,000 to be able to
That's right.
put in. Yeah.
So I think when I did a project, like you said, what excites me is when my staff comes to me and says, hey, what do you think about this? I said, do it. Go all out. Don't stop. So they need another $100,000 for landscaping. Mm-hmm. I said, do it.
Yeah.
So in our new houses, instead of having awesome pools, we're thinking about having an ice bath as well. So we're incorporating ice baths on the side for people that look out.
Yep.
So they can
see. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. See, this is kind of the cool stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yep. In one of our rooms, we actually have a safe room. So a safe room it looks like a bookshelf. You move a book. We're actually going to be developing now at over there at McCollum Parkway. You open it, the door opens. It has a safe lock. You're the only one getting in and out of there. Yep. So you can hide your guns in there. You can hide your family in there. If the alarm goes off, you get in there. You're the only one who can get in and out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't see really anybody else, at least in this market, doing things like that.
Well, yeah, I was just thinking outside the box.
No, I mean,
that's great.
There was what was the record sale this year? And again, not to throw people under the bus, it was a $33 million home discounted to $20 million, which is a hell of a discount. But luxury features, but nothing spectacular. Yeah. Again, beautiful home.
A view that you would assume you'd have in a $20 million.
Yeah,
yeah.
And at $20 million, it was I don't know, 2,000 square foot. So normal, right? But if you're truly going to take that next leap, like you and I have talked about,
right.
kind of Miami, Naples prices,
right?
What sort of features? Because the price per square foot's never going to justify. If you're trying to build let's say, 15,000 square foot home, and you want to sell it for $60 million, right? You're never going to justify 4,000 a square foot just on that.
That's right.
So you've got to have features in there that are one of a kind, right?
Well, I toured a very nice home in Miami. I toured it, and if you want to get better at your craft as a builder, as an agent, how do I get better? Mm-hmm. You go and learn.
Yeah,
that's it. So we went to Miami. A friend of mine and I did. We went to a lot of multi-million-dollar homes, and we went to one that just blew our mind. So now that's one of my thing. I'm like, I'm going to create this next one. Yeah. Instead of going to the front door and a pivot, you're going to go to an entry with a waterfall to a pivot. So before you even enter it, there's a pivot door with a lock system. You come in through a waterfall, coming out, up, then you go through the front door.
Yeah.
That is a creation,
Yeah.
But you got to have the land to do it. So you got to have the big land to do that.
But we're at a point, the market's soft right now at that level just because what's going on with the economy and election and stuff. But,
right.
Next year after that, we're going to start pushing that boundary again where you're going to see, 20, 30, 40, $50 million listings. If you're on Longboat Key on the Gulf or Sanderling Club or something like that. That's the kind of stuff, luxury agents are trying to attract new buyers to the market. Right. So if I can present them safe rooms or, ice rooms where you put on the coat and have a drink and, we talked, bowling alley, like, all right, that was kind of an 80s thing. But that's sort of same concept, right? Indoor shooting ranges, helipads, if you're allowed to have it. Right. Kind of the stuff that we kicked around on that project we were going to do.
That's right.
On Siesta Key, that would have shaken up some
amazing.
Would have shaken up some things. But that's what we do. But stuff like that, I would imagine as a builder is just like you said, when you don't have a budget, and
you don't have a budget.
Looking into,
you got to just go. If you're going to go out, you just got to go all out. Mm-hmm. What does a woman want, and what does a man want? I think it's honestly, if you go to the third level, let's say you have an ocean view, you have that third level as your ocean view. I think his and her, you need your own rooms.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You have your own rooms. Isn't her
and the
room
guy
big?
had
How do you feel about that?
guy has a urinal.
Let's bring a female perspective in
It's
about
luxury,
It's
right?
luxury.
It provides that luxury that, you might love each other and want to share the space, but we
Yeah.
have the space. You
Yeah.
can have your own walk-in closet. You can have your own, bathtub and not worry about his stuff. So
Yeah.
I think that's something that a lot are actually going to be doing,
if somebody's
and looking
snoring,
towards.
they can
just-
Or leading in that.
Have you put
Definitely.
any urinals in the guy's side yet?
You know what? That's a great idea. That's a
Oh,
great
I'm
idea.
telling you, I've seen it.
I've had a
It's-
client put a urinal in their house.
Yeah.
I've seen urinals. Yes, you can do that. I'm doing it in my house, right? So my personal house.
Are you really?
I'm going to because I like that. You know? And I'm big on having my own space.
They're so messy. I'm just
Yeah.
imagining like
Oh, hey, you're doing well enough. You got somebody to clean it for you.
Yeah, you walking in the Wawa and you see the terrible. Yeah.
All right. So on that note, since we're talking about urinals, we're actually going to just take a break.
Yeah.
Not to use the restroom, but two things. One is the clock didn't ever get started, so I'm not sure exactly where we are.
Yeah.
Oh.
But Kelly also has to show everyone how she made our dirty martinis.
Yes.
But I also have a question. At what point are you supposed to eat the olives?
Good question. So typically throughout, I like to do one throughout, and then I leave the last one for the very end. So it
Okay, so about
absorbs.
halfway you have the first one.
Yep.
And then, all right.
And then at
Good.
the end.
So when they're like no longer submerged, basically, you just kind of
That's a good rule of thumb too. Yep.
okay.
All right. Good to know.
All right.
Now I know.
And they are blue cheese, so stinky, delicious olives.
Wonderful. We'll try it. All right, so we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Cocktails Are for Closers. Today we're going to be doing a dirty martini. Go ahead and start with your cup, add some ice. We are going to start off with 3 ounces of Tito's vodka. We're going to do a 1/2 ounce of fresh olive brine. That's it, and stir. And go ahead and strain. And we won't forget our garnish. We're going to do a blue cheese olive in there today. There you are. And cheers.
All right,
All right,
so
well, good drink. Thank
yes,
you.
we're back.
Thank
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
This is
Mine
just
about
a
finished.
Tito's vodka dirty martini.
That's
Dirty
it.
martini.
Slightly dirty.
And
a half ounce of dirtiness. You
A
said,
1/2
right?
ounce, yeah. If I did it
Okay.
extra dirty, it'd be like mostly olive juice. But
Yeah.
for your sakes, I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
I do like it a little dirty. I know there's like weird annotations with that, but I like it. a
Yeah,
little
we'll
dirty.
just leave that alone.
Yeah. And then the
just move
olives
on.
are stuffed with blue cheese. You said,
They are,
right?
yes.
Okay.
They're premium olives.
And see, I'm
Okay.
not a big
Olives.
blue cheese fan, but I'll try it with the olive.
It adds like a nice like acid salt that's not the olive. Cuts it
Cool.
a little bit. It's inside the olive, but it's cheesy.
Yeah.
All right. So we were talking about...
Which, by the way, sorry, this
Oh,
is the most impractical glass. The martini glass, hands down, is the most impractical glass.
I agree.
Why?
You can be completely sober and just tilt this like
Still
5
spilling.
degrees all over you. Yeah, and they see you drinking straight vodka, so right away they just assume you're wasted.
Yeah.
So it's
You're like, no, I literally just tilted it
why,
like
who
this.
invented this? Why would they do that? It makes no sense. Yeah. Anyway,
They got me. I don't have any insight on
yeah.
that.
So let's talk more about the some of these luxury finishes we started
Yeah.
getting into.
Well, so not only luxury finishes, but then also just the luxury market in general with higher price points. Because what I wanted to ask before we went to break is, so we've got like the Rosewood residences that are going in. We've got
St. Regis.
St. Regis
Yeah.
as well and Longboat Key. How is that impacting the local market?
I think it's actually going to improve the local market because the people that come here that are buying those, right? They're going to want offset. You know what? We got a condo here. Maybe we want to move our family here or friends here. That also, disperse us to like the west of the trail market. If they're buying a $4 or $5 million condo, they're like, you know what? We'll take a $4 or $5 million house west of the trail.
All day, yeah.
If those finish are like that, we'll take it over here, and that it actually helps our market. I think, for sure.
Yeah. Plus, then they won't have all the high HOAs.
The high HOAs. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Some of
some
those.
people only stay at St. Regis, right? They're very loyal
They're
to
loyal.
the brand, and there's only I don't know how many, but they're in very prestigious places, and some people were very surprised actually that Longboat Key landed one. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think your average, again, if you're gonna build, let's say you're buying in Naples or you're a Miami buyer, you want something a little water, your budget's $50-60 million sometimes,
Easily.
right? And in Naples, it's a little less than Miami, but normal homes, your normal west of Trail $5 million home would be 12, 13, 14 million,
right.
easily.
That's right.
So, I still think eventually that those markets are going to become saturated, right? And they're going to say, well, what's next, right? And Sarasota, to me, is the next logical push for that ultra luxury market. It has all, if not more, amenities than Naples. Better transportation system, in my opinion, proximity to
Oh,
I
we've
think we
got
got better water too.
Yeah, better water.
better water, a lot of things going for
And
it.
again, what the Ringling did for this area, like you can't duplicate that anywhere else. I mean, that is a unique feature that we have.
Just the arts background.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the arts, music, I mean, all of that Sarasota offers, it's just highly attractive.
I
Yeah.
totally agree.
Yeah. So I think that's around the corner. I think that, and we started to see that before things kind of flattened out in the last year, numbers getting pushed. And I mean, look, it's very normal now to have $20 million homes on Anna Maria and Longboat.
Yeah.
So what's next is to have 40 million, 50 million. And I think you're going to have to have those.
I think that's next.
Yeah, but you're going
But
to
you
have
got to
to
push
have
that envelope.
those,
You got to
Yeah.
push. You got to be willing to say, you know what, I'm going to risk that $20 million build.
Yeah.
I'm going to step up by that, that $15 million dirt.
Yeah.
And risk that money.
So when are you going to do that?
You know what?
Is that next?
That's next. So that's where our company's headed. We're definitely headed to open water, deeper water.
Yeah.
And I'll stay confidential, but we
love
looked at we looked at more properties on the water to build out there, because I think that's where the new development is.
So the new St. Regis, it's this guy over here. Yeah, household name.
That would be awesome, right?
He'll be in the bar, right, handing out business cards.
you go,
Yeah, yeah, with portfolios of grow rooms and
that's it,
ice
that's it.
bars and indoor gun ranges and
That's
things.
right.
Yeah, but look, you're going to have to attract. How do you attract that client, right? You're going to have to offer things that are maybe normal in Miami, but aren't normal here,
Yeah.
and it's going to include all of those things, right? 10-car garage, climate controlled with, mirrors and rotating, all that fancy stuff that there aren't homes like that in
Yeah.
Sarasota, but there's plenty of them like that. in
Speaking of cars, can I ask this?
Miami. Yeah, he doesn't drive it anymore.
I know,
Oh,
I'm not
you
sold
don't?
it. I sold it.
Yeah,
I
so-
sold, I sold the green mean machine.
Some of you, if you don't know John, you definitely know his green.
yeah,
Lambo
used to
riding
around
around town.
town just for fun.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's actually how we met.
That's right.
You had a
that's right.
product down the street, and I could
That's
see
right.
this green Lambo. And
Yeah, that's right.
Is that right?
I got to come talk to this guy.
That's right.
What do you do?
Yeah, right. What's going on with you?
It was fun. Then I sold that. Then my wife said you need a third row seat, so I drove a Mercedes GL 450.
So now he has the
Okay.
grocery getter.
The grocery getter,
Mercedes grocery getter.
She goes, I need to pick up kids. I was like, all right, come on now.
Yeah.
All right, so no fun car anymore?
You know what? I just sold my Porsche 911. That was
Okay.
fun. So I got that one after the Lambo. Then I said, you know what? My wife said, be more practical. You got to drive on these job sites. You can't drive a green car on the job site. I'm like, you're right. So I just got to.
It's
Well, you
wise
can still
advice.
have it in the garage,
Yeah.
Sunday's driver.
It's just like, where's it at? I was like, I drive.
Well, right away they're thinking, all right, well, this guy's going to be way too expensive, right? He's driving
Yeah.
everybody around, right?
Yeah.
I get a lot of flack with that with the Bentley too.
Yeah,
Like, I'll take the Escalade if there's ever a question, right? Just
That's right.
pull up in the Escalade. But,
right.
Yeah. So what's next though? Because I know you're a caged tiger, so you got your eye on.
I got my eye on a big property right now. I actually went to go see it.
Okay.
Recently, and
I was thinking cars.
I was
but right
gonna
away.
say,
Oh, the cars.
No,
cars.
this is good. You've moved on.
Yeah.
to the
He's like, I
business-
just want to avoid that
Yeah,
conversation.
you moved on to the
That's it,
business
that's it.
investment. Yeah. So
So you and I talked about it. So we have somebody on right now. We're kind of due diligence working with.
yeah.
And hopefully that will break the market in in this market for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it going to be a first in this market? Is that what we're talking
Yeah, big
about?
one.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and they have the funds to do whatever they want. So they picked us to choose to go outsource it. And I talked to you about that yesterday.
Yeah.
So now it's like one of that thing. If I can find it, When I was telling Mark, I got to be smart about it before I do it, because my job is to make sure that I protect them as well.
Yeah.
When I put them in a location, that's their location of their dream.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
And if you promise something, you deliver.
right. They want certain components and certain points, and I need to meet those points for them.
How was that process? Because I'm assuming they were looking at people other than MJ Pham.
They were, but they also look at integrity, background, and when you're doing a business like even Living Vogue or MJ Pham Development, they're not buying the company at that point. They're buying you as the owner. And are you going to execute for them? And what's your integrity behind that? And what's your word behind that? So I must have carried a good enough word out there where he's like, "I'll take you."
Yeah, it's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, right now I'm hunting for that one spot. I looked at it. I was like, you know what? I told Mark about it just behind closed doors. I was like, I don't know, because it's a little noisy, so I got to be careful about that. So.
Yeah, sometimes I know I've got a couple lists near bridges and roads and things, and
you got to be careful.
It's hard to overcome that sort of stuff.
That's it.
Especially someone that's paying that much. They want their privacy, their peace.
Right. And they're trusting you. And they'll come out here, maybe fly out here, see it at one time. Maybe not the time when the bridge is going up, for example. Yeah. So they're trusting you to make that decision for them. So you want to be honest with their points.
Well, call Reed Murphy. I'll plug one name. Reed's my boy. He's a
He's a
independent
good guy,
broker. Yeah. Do you know Reed?
No, is he?
Reed's got a ton of pocket listings on Low Key. Yeah. And he, if you need weird big lots, he's the man to look for.
Okay.
And
that'd be great. Get
so
connected.
take care of me.
He's Tampa now, right?
What's that?
Is he in Tampa now?
Is he in Tampa? Oh, okay, never mind.
No. I thought I heard that he was down in Tampa.
I don't know. I know he's still on Longboat Key. That's his bread and butter. But yeah. Well, thank you. We appreciate your time coming in today.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
You guys are wonderful. This is a great setup.
Any final last words about you, the company, where Sarasota is going? Anything else that excites you?
It's exciting. Like, Sarasota is exciting. It's exciting because it's so like, it's in this little phase right now where it's ready to bloom. Everybody sees it. I think it will be the next Miami. When I go to Miami and I studied Miami and I looked and toured with my friend, we stayed there for a while. I realized Sarasota is so much prettier. The people are nice.
Yeah.
You got great restaurants. The water is by far the best, I think, right? You just got to start developing the better houses.
Yeah.
And pick out the better locations and just take a risk.
Yep.
It's all about the risk.
So I think that's a big thing to say. So just remember, anybody who's wanting to move here, you got to keep Sarasota.
You got to keep Sarasota.
This is not Miami. It's not New York.
Yeah. We don't want Vegas, Miami.
It's like, we're going to continue to grow.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah.
Let's grow smart.
We like the big city feel, but in a small town.
Yeah.
I agree with that too.
Well, and I have to say too, John, that's something you do really well in all of your builds. You have that ultra luxury, you have those high end finishes, but they fit in these, in the neighborhood I grew up in. They fit in these oak tree or canopy roads. They look beautiful in their luxury, but they're not some monstrosity on the corner. And so I think, being a resident of that, I appreciate it, but it also speaks volumes to you and your company and the vision that you're creating here in Sarasota.
Thank you. And also our houses, every house is different.
Exactly.
You would never walk through that room and have the same house.
Yeah.
Everybody that buys one of our homes is always a different home.
I love that.
Thank you.
So you've got something special.
You know what? I have to thank my wife. She said, create something. And I said, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I got to thank
awesome.
a lot for her.
Yeah. Well, you guys are a great team.
Thank you so much.
And I'm telling you, it's been really cool to kind of see the progress over the years.
Right.
Like I said, from the pink signs at a side every once in a while.
Then you sort of turn to teal blue. Yeah.
To where you guys are now, man. It's impressive. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. And I love the support. We get a lot of calls too in the office, and people are like, you know what? Great job. And you got to be a good neighbor when you're constructing. But besides somebody, you make a lot of noise.
Sure.
Just be respectful to your neighbors. If they ask you, hey, can you do this, do that? Look, it's pennies. Make it happen.
Yeah.
So we do it.
Yeah, that's great.
You don't just do it, you do it.
You do it. I love that. Yeah, so we're gonna remember that. You don't just do it, you do it.
Do it. That's right.
That's good.
We're gonna have to put that as a quote somewhere. John
on the wall.
Thank you. That's a lot.
Yeah, very nice.
So again, thank you for being here today. Anything?
No, it's great.
you?
Thanks for coming with
Thanks
us.
so much, Mark.
We appreciate it. Yep, absolutely.
All right, and thank
save
you guys
some of those
for watching.
big houses for me.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's why we did this. We want to be the no.
the broker on it.
Yeah. Well, no, it's important to point out. I mean, you have your own brokerage, right? Your wife is a licensed broker, so there is no relationship here other than goodwill. Like we stand behind you because of the product that you do and the person that you are. And
I always say this, Mark, about you. As much as I've known Mark so far, he's got a big heart.
Yeah.
Every time he's always put me first on a lot of things, and I want to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Every
that.
time. He's always called me and said, hey, I got a deal for you. I was like, thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
So he's done that for me from day one.
Thank you.
Very appreciative.
Yeah, I can echo that.
Thank you.
You've been pretty good.
Tell me more. What about you?
Yeah.
You're the best.
Anybody else? Jake, you got anything
Yeah,
more?
come on. Come on.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you.
Well, with that,
Yep.
guys,
Yeah. Cheers.
thanks
Cheers.
for joining us. And here's to the next Cocktails Are for Closers.
That's it.
Cheers,
All right.
guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Eat your olives now. At the end.